Hi everybody. So my program crashed. So I'm continuing here and we were talking interestingly, we were talking about Mercury at this karmic degree. By the way, Mercury at this karmic degree in Taurus, which is very close to Black Moon Lilith, is squaring this 12-degree Aquarian Saturn. So we have Saturn squaring the the karmic mind. In other words, there's something about mental processing as it relates to too much rigidity, as it relates to too much focus, narrow mindedness. There can be a restriction of mind activated with this full moon. And that restriction of mind, or that narrow focus, or the need to kind of assert dogmatically that one is very intelligent and knows more than the other person, that's indicated during this process. And by the way, that is hyperactivated now, especially with certain people. There are many people that are asserting in a very kind of ultra serious way, very seriously asserting that they somehow know. Okay? Hold it real lightly and also confront it. Confront these things. Confront people who have these dogmatic assertions about their intellect or what they think they know. Because there is a need with this square of Saturn Mercury to evolve your thinking. And by the way, the evolution of the thinking that's tied to this particular full moon process, this deep psychological full moon process, deeper dive into your own realm, your own shadowed components that activates your own patterning. There is this need of the mind to love the self, value the self, Taurus, to value, to truly value your worth. And because there is this kind of indication with the square that um, the control mechanisms of certain people, when it comes to issues of even like money, the money that people are wanting to make from the public. I have to tell you, because especially because we have Uranus with Venus. So this can be apathetic action taken with regards to monetary issues. In other words, people want to make income now. Some people are quite desperate to make income now, and they will do, the ends and the means. You know, the means doesn't matter if you get to the end of what the goal is. So here we have apathetic action as it relates to money. I'm going to get what I can get out there right now. And so there's something with regards to potentially taking advantage of people. There's a need here. There's a requirement with this square to mature the mind, to mature Saturn, to become wise, to become responsible and accountable for the collective. In other words, to communicate according to your own value and your own worth, and to value the worth of others, as opposed to possibly taking advantage of others. There's a need to mature your responsibility to the collective with regards to what you say and speak, and what you do with regards to Taurus, Venus, money issues, survival issues. The market is quite hot now when it comes to issues of home and real estate because, there's fear activating and driving the market. There's all kinds of things to inquire about here, everybody. The systems that are in play need to be inquired about, and that's also part of the square here. That 16-degree Mercury is about rethinking what the rules and the laws and the things of civilization have created as our accepted reality. So there's new ways to think, but there's also new ways to value not only yourself, but other people, and everybody's right to life, everybody's right to abundance, everybody's right to being valued equally, you know? But there can be these rigid, dogmatic, cold attitudes toward humanity, toward people, that can create unhealthy or toxic communications or marketing techniques with regards to people's own businesses or whatever they're doing now in order to make a living. In other words, there can be a desperation here, and there can be taking advantage of people here, okay? And with this process, it could be that there's more awareness, more clarity happening within you, within your consciousness here. 7-degree moon in Scorpio, ruled by Pluto. Inner transfer, inner clarity, activating your own transformation according to a new level of evolved self-value. And this is activating a new way of behaving and interrelating with people. Okay, so let's start to talk about some of the other stuff here, and then we'll look at the symbology. Let me just take a look. We have another activation here, which is quite good. This particular 27-degree Jupiter point in Aquarius is also trining. It's not shown here, but it is trining with a 10-degree orb, the moon. And we have the trine up here to Cancer, or excuse me, to Mars in Cancer. So we have Mars, Moon, and Jupiter. Now, it's not a grand water trine. This is an air sign, but it is a trine. So there is a correlation here between an awareness and a clarity and an ownership of things. Some awareness about your own patterning, your own psyche, shadow, your own desire to step into a new level of empowerment, to evolve your self-worth as you stand in relationship and conversation with other people, and to communicate truthfully and ethically, and with an open, matured mind versus a dogmatic and closed mind. And there's the drive here connected to that awareness and desire for transformation to go deep in the truth of things. And that's connected here to possibly a desire to help inform the collective of certain things. Certain things that you might know about, certain awarenesses that you, from your own life, from your own wounded experiential journey, and how you've worked through and navigating your own healing processes that's still activated. We're all growing from birth to death. So you're an active process, but you know things. You've experienced certain things that have helped you with your dark night of the soul, helped you with your psychological processes, clarity, mental functioning. And there's a desire here possibly to help inform others of things that can benefit people, others, community. So this is quite good. The other thing that I want to point out here is that the nodes right now, which are at 11 degrees Gemini and Sag, are squaring Pallas Athena. Now they're still squaring, I mean, they're a little bit out of square now. They're 11-degree orb with Neptune. So I'm going to focus, I meant to focus on Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena, the goddess of wisdom, the goddess of war, the empowered feminine here. This is the growth edge for as we move away from assertions and dogma into an open, curious, and becoming the student mind. You know, the mind that's open to being taught, the mind that's open to engaging in networked collaborative communication. It's squaring Pallas Athena here. So there's some aspect of a growth edge specific with regards to a Piscean empowered feminine archetype, the Neptunian empowered feminine archetype. How we are holding or how we are receiving. That's what I would say, because Pallas Athena specifically is the feminine. And if we're looking at the feminine principle, we're looking at the receptive quality set here. So there's a receptivity here that is a growth edge if we are to evolve into, by the way, the North Node in the 8th house, along with the part of fortune, along with Mars. This is also a thing to note here with that nodal position, right? We have the North Node in the 8th, which is calling for our minds to go into the depths, to open the mind to understand the patterning of the mind, informed by the stories that you hold in your consciousness. So, in order to evolve your thinking, you have to integrate all aspects of self. You cannot partition it and stay superficial. This is about being willing to go deep and maybe communicate from that new metaphysical depth. The metaphysician is 8th house Scorpio Pluto. So there's a need to go into your psychology. You, as an individual listening to this, as opposed to projecting it all on, helping heal other, it's about healing self. When you heal self, you can activate the healing for other by role model, by teaching. But it's not about only projecting outward, it's about doing the inner work here. And so there's a growth edge about doing the inner work on your own thinking, on your own mind, on your own communications. From what position are you communicating from? There's a need to grow into the depth of who you are. Go deep, see things way beyond the surface, especially with the Gemini aspect here, the quality, the archetype. But the squaring here is definitely, for me at least, talking about becoming receptive. This is the skip step aspect that needs to be activated now, catalyzed. So become receptive here. Become receptive to, and in a balanced way. It's at a 15-degree point, which is directly, it's right in the midpoint of the 30-degree archetype. So there's a need to become balanced, to become receptive, to allow the feminine within each of you to have her voice. Every human being has feminine quality sets and aspects. If you denigrate and deny and disempower the feminine archetype within you, there is inherently imbalance activated. It's skewed, it's toxic, it's imbalanced. Period. You can't operate with just one archetype. So there's a need to incorporate that feminine quality set. So for those of you who have repressed the feminine, there's a call to action here. So that's definitely activated, everybody. There was something else I wanted to talk about. What was it? Oh, well, it had to do with this kind of this minor grand trine here. We have the South Node with Saturn over here to Chiron, right? So Chiron trining the South Node, both of them sextiling Saturn here. There's a need to mature how we show up. How do we as individuals show up in the world? Because how we show up, how we operate in the world, impacts the collective. So how the self is directly and simultaneously impacts the collective. There's a need to come from a greater level of wisdom here, a greater level of self-awareness here, utilizing your own wisdom here, and about healing the self. Chiron and Aries. And so when we heal the self and we come from our own experiential wisdom set that is informing our paradigm, we can become wise with how we operate with the collective. So that's also activated here. We also have another one, right? So we have it connected to that North Node. So the North Node is trining Saturn, and these are both connected here to healing the self. This particular Scorpio full moon, and by the way, this is a supermoon. This particular full moon is a supermoon. So the moon is going to appear bigger. So there's some sizable awareness, self-revelation perhaps, that's going to come to light. And it is connected to healing the self. Healing the self, transforming the self, going into the self and reintegrating the segmented parts. Maturity, healing. Wisdom versus dogmatism. Opening the mind, going in and reintegrating the segmented parts. Becoming a holistic being again. Okay? So there's aspects here that are very important. I think that's all I have, everybody. I send you much love. That's going to be for the weekly. We're going to focus on, because it really is the spotlighted energetic for the week. But again, this is really for the month ahead. So be mindful. This is a time to really own your own stuff and to be willing to see it all, to let it come out of the closet, to let it come out into the light, to have conversations with it, with your past, with the inner wounded child, etc. All right, everybody, I'm going to close out my highlighter here. I send you lots of love for your week ahead, and I'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.